This is the soil from Hilversum. Hilversum is a small city where all our broadcasting stations are from television and radio. And this is, you see a buildup of, this is this original heathland soil, potsoil, which was used to be on the border of the city. But then the city of Hilversum got connected to the rail station. And in 50 years it grew 4 times its size. And in by the end of the 19th century, Hilversum was not a very clean city, as were most cities in the world, because there was no sewer system yet. So all the dirt was on the streets. And there was a medical doctor. He made a map, which around the same time was done in London and New York, of where his patients lived, what diseases they had, and where the water wells were. And then he saw this relation. People got ill from the water.
Wow.
And he made a claim in the local government to drain the water out of the city. First by just making superficial drains, which later was developed into the sewer system. But first it was drained superficially out of the city to fields next to the city, infiltration beds. And that was actually this soil. This soil was an infiltration bed, so now it's nicely polluted with polyaromatic carbons, heavy metals, etc. Later, when the sewer system was in place, they put a garbage heap, as they do still in some places on Earth. They just bring the garbage out of the city, make big heaps, and that's it. And you see that here, that's actually this location. Until that was different processed, and then they needed more space in the city, and the garbage heap was leveled. They put 0.5 meter of construction sand, the pavement, and then they started building. So this is actually the street level. And until in the end of the 1970s, they discovered soil pollution in the Netherlands. They found actually that people had put a lot of material in the soil in the past, like industrial refuge. And then environmental thinking grew, realization that we can actually pollute the soil, and with that the groundwater. So then a big program was started that lasted at least for 10 years to make an inventory of the whole country, where are sources of pollution and where should we remediate, what are criteria, what is polluted, what is not, etc., what is danger for human health. And this area in Hilversum was opened. It was an urban area opened for remediation. And then the municipality asked us, can you take a profile for education so that we can explain to the people why their streets are open for so long and what we are doing there. So then it hung in the municipality of Hilversum, and ultimately it came here. So we see here the natural soil, the garbage heap, and then there's construction sand with artifacts. And that makes it a technosol. A technosol in WB classification requires a minimum of 20% artifacts, and the pavement. So when I explain this to students, I say this is an acranic, garbic, urbic technosol, and they all start to laugh, of course, because they're quite exotic names. But once you understand that terminology, you say acranic is sealed, garbic is from garbage remains, urbic is from urban, and technosol means it is a deeply influenced human soil. So, yeah. And this bottle here, the most asked question is, did you put it there on purpose? No, it was already there. And I mislabeled it as a perfume bottle, but I was corrected by a nurse, a retired nurse, who visited the museum, and she said this is a penicillin bottle, which was used in hospitals. So, yeah. So that's our urbic, and then the question is, well, we got the environmental thinking about soil pollution developed, but we also had a phase where we dump things in the sea or just put them in the landscape. Of course, we don't do that anymore, but what do we do now? We bring it, we select, let's say, garbage, and what is non-recyclable we bring to plants, which burns the residue. But then still you have a residue, and where do you leave that? And I asked people from the industry, and actually there's still no good solution to that than to lock it into building material, roads, etc. And for instance, this is a phase in the Netherlands where we thought we just spread the residue over large areas, like in our coastal zone. This is from the Maasvlakte near Rotterdam. But then they found out, of course, this material is not inert. It also has still chemical processes. So heavy metals were leaching into the sandy subsoil. So that's also not done anymore now. Yeah, it's made into construction material. So yeah, immobilize it for longer periods. That is actually the answer. Let's say divide it into recyclable classes and have the minimum material that is non-recyclable, and then process it to keep it safe for longer periods.